Hello, my dearest friends. Welcome or welcome back to my channel, Diana and the Book Hunt, and welcome to a brand new recommendations video with a specific trope in mind for this one. And with Mother's Day approaching, upcoming weekend, I think it's the best time to highlight some amazing, wonderful, resilient, powerful moms. I've got a couple of romances, about 10 books to recommend with single moms, each of them kind of dealing with different kinds of sets of struggles, different kinds of sets of expectations, and different sets of wants and needs when it comes to either starting or embarking on a new relationship, or some of them maybe not even wanting a relationship, really focusing on other things like their career, but then encountering love regardless. So today's video is going to be focusing on single moms and 10 romances where you can discover amazing, resilient, strong, wonderful heroines, and ones that I also fell in love with. So I'm going to be going ahead and diving into these books. Most of these books I've read in the past year or so, so you will maybe have heard me talking about these in the latest couple of videos, but some of these I read last year, so I'm just going to go back and revisit them with you because those are still stories that I highly enjoyed and would definitely recommend. So I'm going to go ahead and dive in with the first book, which is a latest release by Christina Forrest called The Love Lyric. Within this one, we've got a heroine who is a widow. She fell in love with the love of her life. They have had an amazing relationship together. She fell pregnant, she had this baby, and then something tragic happens. An accident happens that takes her husband away from her. So she is now taking care of her child, her daughter, on her own. And the thing with this story is that I think it's just such a wonderful representation for a woman who just, first of all, takes her time to grieve the love of her life. So it's not really a situation of her being stuck in her grief and someone needing to get her out of her grief, but really someone who already has been dealing with being a widow for a while, and then also taking care of her child, focusing now on her career, and then someone new presents themselves into her life, and then he really wins her over. We've got a hero who is an R&B singer, and he gets presented an opportunity to work with this skincare brand. He's going to be an ambassador for them, and she works for this company, so he's going to be her client essentially, and they're going to have this forced proximity because they're going to be going to these events together. So there's a lot of goodness to this story, and I really found that Iris was such a strong and resilient and very kind of calm kind of a presence within the story, and she was doing such a good job of managing her motherhood together with her career. And she wasn't afraid of having people in her life, her sisters and her family, jumping in to help her whenever necessary, which I find is a very crucial part of being a mother, really knowing when to allow people to help you or ask for help whenever you need. So for me, this one was definitely a story that I very much enjoyed because Iris is such a strong mother, and she's also the mother to, like, the mother figure to her younger sisters, which I very much appreciated as well. So yeah, I really love this one and I would definitely recommend it. The next story is a bit different. It's First Time Caller by B.K. Borson. This one features a single mom who is a mom to a daughter who is I think she's a teen. She's 12, I think. And her daughter decides to meddle in her love life. She calls up this radio show asking for relationship tips for her mom because she's not dating anyone. And her daughter is kind of worried about her mom not having a social life. And essentially, this radio show host that picks up the call, he gets presented the opportunity to help her mom date. So he invites her as a guest on their show to try to find a date for her. And we just see a different kind of relationship between the mom and daughter. They're almost like at the stage where they're forming a friendship and a more close relationship because of conversations that they're having, and not so much only the mom taking care of the child. And that is also a part of motherhood that, frankly, I'm looking forward to. Right now, I've got a son who is 6 years old, and I know that boys are different from girls, so it's probably going to be a bit different, but I hope that whether it's me or my partner, that he finds solace in being able to talk to us about different things when he's a teenager. So I really hope that we get to that point with that kind of mindset of us being able to talk about different things and the child not being afraid to share whatever it is that they want or are struggling with, essentially. So for this one, I just found that the mother-daughter relationship is quite different than what we see in other romances. And also the romance itself was quite swoony, in my opinion. I really enjoyed it. It is a story of the mom character discovering that she's more than a mom. So she is a woman and she has different sets of desires and expectations when it comes to your relationship that she is discovering now that she's talking about it with someone. And I really love that about the story, so I would definitely recommend this one. The next one up is another new release called Wild and Wrangled. This is the fourth book within Lila Sage's Cowboy Ranch series. It's the last book of the series. And this one focuses on our single mom, Cam, who gets stood up at the altar at the start of the book. And what I really love about this story is that the heroine, she has such a healthy and good relationship with the father of her child. So they had a one-night stand when they were young. They had this baby, but they knew that they weren't meant to be together. So they always remained friends and really focusing on how to take care of their child the best way. So they're very supportive of each other. So when her ex found someone that he loved and wanted to marry, she was very supportive. And now that she's struggling, everyone from the ranch, so all the friends and family, they are also supportive of her. They want to get her out of the situation where she got stood up at the altar. And she finds a second chance to love with her other ex, the love of her life. When she was a teenager, she used to love this boy, but they were from very different backgrounds, so it just didn't work out between them. And now that he's back into her life, they get a second chance at romance. And what I love also about this story is that our hero Dusty, he just fits in so well with both our heroine, but also with stepping up to be another part to the puzzle for, I think her name was Riley, if I'm not mistaken, so to the daughter, because she has so many people around her that love her, that bring something different to uh, her daily routine and different kinds of love that she's experiencing from family members. But Dusty just brings another piece of that puzzle for her, which I really, really loved. So this is, again, a slightly different kind of a single parent, so single mom romance, and I really highly enjoyed it. So I would definitely recommend this one as well. Now, the next story is quite fun, for me at least, to talk about, because we've got a single mom who is a motorcycle riding mom, something that we don't come across very often in romances. I'm speaking about the heroine from In the Details by Julia Wolf. This is a story where we've got a single mom who desperately wants to also feel parts of herself that are not the mom character in her life. She desperately loves her child, her daughter. She also has a daughter, but she's like, I once in a while need an evening out to myself, riding my motorcycle, going to this bar to pick up someone to hook up with, and that is completely fine. That should be fine, right? So she finds this bar where she finds someone to hook up with, and they have this casual hookup relationship essentially with one another. And later on, it turns out that they're going to be in forced proximity because they're potentially going to be working together. And the interesting thing about this story is that we've got our heroine who is a mom, but later on we find out that the hero is also a dad to a daughter. And his daughter is a bit older than the heroine's daughter. So they are in different stages of parenting, which presents different issues to the story. So different plot lines that we follow when it comes to the younger kid. What is she interested in? How does she accept the new figure in her life? While the older daughter, so the hero's daughter, she's like a bit more wary, and is she going to be accepting the new figure in his life? And it's a very interesting take on the single parent trope, in my opinion, and I really highly enjoyed it, so I would definitely recommend it. Next up, I'm going to be talking about Protect, which is a book that is part of the Wildfire Hotshots series that were written by different authors. This is the one written by Paisley Hope. And this one features a single mom who is just recently getting divorced. She had a relationship with our hero when they were teenagers, but he broke her heart. So she moved away from their hometown. She got into a relationship that she found was safe and was the kind of relationship that everyone would expect her to be into. So she married the guy, she had a kid with him, but it turned out that he is not as invested in their relationship and their daughter as much as she was. So she was like, yeah, this is not going to be it for me. I can better just take care of my daughter on my own. So she moved back home so she can have some help from her parents. And that is when she encounters her first love, someone who, like I mentioned, broke her heart in the first place. And he's desperate to grovel his way back into her good graces. And the interesting part about this story is that we've got a child who is younger. I think she's like maybe 4 years old, if I'm not mistaken, like 4 or 5 years old. And she is obsessed with this cartoon character, and he dresses up like that character so that he can make her laugh, and he takes her to this concert. He's just the kind of hero who would do anything to win over the affections of his heroine, but also of the child. He's definitely very aware that he cannot just worm his way into her life without the child accepting him as well. And she's at a very fragile age where she is still kind of looking for a father figure because her father is not present. And it's just a very, again, different kind of a single mom romance, in my opinion. And for this one, I really highly enjoyed that the heroine was really determined to make the right decisions for her child. Firstly, recognizing that the dad figure is just not doing things in the right way for their daughter, that she really needs to get her daughter out of a toxic situation and really focus on how to be the best kind of a mom to her child. And at the same time, someone new gets into her life and she's a bit hesitant at first, but she sees how much care he takes with being the best possible dad role model in her daughter's life. And that is something that I found that was greatly done in this book. So yeah, when it comes to single mom romances, I really enjoyed this one as well. And then speaking about that same series, the third book, which is called Honor by Danielle Baker. This one has a single mom as well, but this one has a single mom because her husband gets into an accident. And essentially, it's really heart-wrenching, honestly, because she has 2 kids with her husband and one on the way, and she's left pregnant and emotional and absolutely distraught and having to take care of these babies while she's going through this grief. And our hero is definitely in the mindset of, I'm going to be whatever she needs me to be so that she can grow out of that situation. He's the kind of guy who is just so obsessed with doing everything right by her that he's always going to want to do things for her when he notices that she is just struggling to make ends meet, not financially, but more so with her daily routine things that she is not managing to organize for herself with her kids. And I just found that it was just the gradual kind of story of them both working through grief, both working through how to be in a relationship while both of them did not expect to be in a relationship anymore. So yeah, this one was a different kind again of a romance, maybe more on the heavier side than the other ones that I've just discussed. But honestly, it's again worth it. When it comes to single mom romances, we want to see our heroines get their happily ever after, even though they may have 3 kids. And we want a hero who is strong enough to be able to accept those kids in his life and love them as much as he's loving his heroine. So for me, this one worked as well. Now, the next one is called Let's Call It Truce. This one came out at the start of this year, I think, and it's a story of a single mom of several kids. I think there are 2 or 3 kids in this story. And again, she has been widowed and she needs to get back to work because she otherwise cannot support her kids financially. So she kind of is in a different kind of situation again where she really doesn't have a choice. She needs to get back to work, and nobody asks her, like, are you ready to get back to work? You just need to get back to work. And she's fortunate enough to get offered a job back at her old company where she used to work before she had kids. Which is an HR company, and she starts to work there. And she has an office romance with one of the guys who works at this company. And they start off on the wrong footing, and they have this enemies to lovers situation going on at the start of the book. And again, here you're seeing a very resilient, very strong, a very also opinionated kind of a woman working through the woes of single mom life, essentially, and how to fit in a relationship within this difficult kind of a life where you need to be the manager, the momager of everything that happens in your life, and dealing with your children's grief, also with them losing a parent figure, and potentially having someone in your life that the children feel is going to replace their dad, and how do you deal with that. And I really enjoyed this one, so I would definitely recommend this one as well. Now, the next book is called Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan, or Monaghan. I don't know how you pronounce the last name of this author. But this one, again, is a very interesting and different kind of a single mom romance, because we've got a single mom of like preteen to teen children, and her husband leaves her. So she's getting divorced, and she is at like the later part of her 30s or start of 40s, I'm not sure, but she is a more mature kind of a heroine, and she has a romance with her best friend's brother, who is younger than her, doesn't have kids, is in a completely different stage in his life. So it's very interesting to see how she's afraid that she's taking away different stages in his life because she has already gone through these stages and he hasn't gone through them. And she's like, I don't want to rob you off of your experiences, because if you come into my life, you're going to be dealing with preteens and teens, and she's also still kind of trying to figure out, like, who am I now that I'm not a wife? Now that I'm a single mom, like, what is the priority for me, and how do I deal with my new routine? And also this new situation of, the kids needing to be split up into 2 homes. How is that going to work? So it's a lot to deal with, and having a new relationship coming into the picture, she felt more pressured to be in that relationship than anything else. So it was a very interesting thing to see, because I think that many women feel like that when they embark on a new relationship after divorce. So for me, it was very interesting to see this one through and see they're happily ever after in the end. So yeah, this one I enjoyed very much. It was a surprise to me because it reads more like a women's fiction kind of a book than a romance, but I really did enjoy this one as well. And then we're moving on to a book by one of my all-time favorite authors, Kennedy Ryan. It's her release from last year, which is called This Could Be Us. Within this story, we've got a heroine who at the start of the book believes she's happily married. But then something happens that makes her see that a lot of things are very deceitful within her life, because she never knew that her husband was into different criminal activities, that he was also having an affair. And essentially, within like a blink of an eye, her whole life crumbles before her. She has 3 daughters, and she's now going to be a single mom and doesn't know how she's going to take care of these kids, because she's always been a stay-at-home mom. So now she needs to figure out a career for herself, as well as go through the hardship of getting a divorce. And everything is also very kind of in the public eye because of certain things that have happened with her husband. So it's a very interesting kind of take on how a woman needs to man up like within a moment's notice, she doesn't get the chance to kind of unravel and be angry and, you know, go through all of these emotions, because she needs to just plow through and make way for how she's going to take care of these kids, which I really, really loved. And then the romance is between herself and a guy who essentially is a forbidden kind of a guy for her. He is also a single dad, and he has a kid who is autistic, which has really great representation within this book, because Kennedy Ryan has also a child who is autistic. And I think she's part of this foundation that focuses on children with autism. So she has a lot of experience with depicting the different kinds of sets of challenges for a parent with a child that is on the spectrum. So I really think that this book embodies how strong and how amazingly resilient and how amazingly resourceful women can be in dire moments of need and moments of vulnerability and moments of absolute like horror, you know, like the horrific kind of situation that you can fall into without knowing that you're going to be there at a certain point in your life. So I really love this book. It does read more as a women's fiction book because we're focusing more on Soledad's story than the romance. But I think that that's the beauty of this book, because again, you see how strong the female character is within this one. Now, the last book is again slightly different because we're dealing with a heroine who has a teeny tiny cute little baby. So this one has a child who is not yet grown, and we have a situation of, or at least let me tell you what the book is. It's Reckless by Elsie Silver. This one is within her Chestnut Spring series, and it's the story of our heroine Winter, who has a one-night stand with this cowboy, and he doesn't know that she gets pregnant. She does try to tell him, but the message doesn't come through for one or another reason. So he doesn't know that he has a kid. And she starts off, she's a doctor, she starts off trying to take care of this baby on her own for the first couple of months. But then when he finds out that he has a kid, he's like, I'm all in. I'm going to want to take care of this baby. And she has her reserves when it comes to letting him in, when it comes to their relationship. But she definitely wants to find a co-parenting situation going for her baby. To backtrack a little bit, she is a very cold-hearted kind of a woman, or at least she's presented that way in the other book. So she's very kind of reluctant and cold and dejected. And the way that we see that she's trying to do her best for the sake of her child, really thinking through all of the steps that she needs to take to do what is best for her child, is something that we love to see, because a character that we used to kind of despise or hate in other books is one that we find compassion for and start to love in this book. So I really, really love that about this book, and I would definitely recommend it. Actually, almost the whole series. The last book wasn't a favorite of mine, but this one is definitely worth it. All right, dear friends, these were all the single mom romances that I wanted to recommend to you today. I wish everyone a wonderful Mother's Day celebration, to whoever is celebrating, whether you're a mom or you're celebrating your mom. I just hope you have a wonderful day. As a mom myself, I'm going to be treating myself to something sweet this weekend because I have a sweet tooth. So I'm going to be enjoying my Mother's Day as well. And I hope to see you in the next one. Please don't forget to subscribe if you like my video. I hope to see you in the next one. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Happy reading. Take care and bye-bye.